If you're new to N8N and you're very much confused about how to do looping in N8N, this tutorial will explain everything about looping. So I'll first show a demo workflow on what exactly are we trying to build, and then we'll build it from scratch. So I have a sheet, a Google sheet, which has got 3 columns: title, category, and block content. What we'll be doing is looping through each title and the category to fill up the block content using the OpenAI node I have. So we'll basically execute this workflow first, and then we'll build it from scratch. So when I execute this workflow, basically what is happening is you're trying to loop every single title and fill up the block content with AI. Okay, so first title and the category, we filled up this particular block content, and then the second, and then will be the third. After all three blocks are done, we'll basically go back to this done state that I have, which just sets like a simple variable, which is status as done. Okay, so let's get straight into building this workflow. So what we need to do is create a new workflow, create a workflow over here. Okay, so the first node that we want is a manual trigger node. So you'll have to search manual trigger. Okay, this is the first node. The second node is going to basically the Google Sheets node, which is going to pull all the rows, right? So you select Google Sheets, and the action that we need is get rows. Okay, get the rows. Now you need credential to work with specific sheet. So what you need to do is create up a credential, go to create new credential. So I happen to already have a video explaining how to create this credential, so you can watch that credential video. I'll just link it out in the description. For time being, I'll just skip this part because otherwise the video would get too long. So I'll just ignore this, and then what you need to do is basically select the credential, select the resource as sheet within document. Operations is get rows. Okay, and from the list that you need to select is the specific Google sheet that you're trying to access the data for. So loop over items tutorial, this is the sheet that I have. I'll just discard this data. Okay, and then you basically need to select the sheet as well over here. So this is the sheet that we are trying to basically access. So this is the sheet. So if you execute the step, all the 3 rows you would see over here with the block content as empty, which we have to fill later. Okay, so the third node that we need to do is basically loop over every single item, whatever is coming from Google Sheet, and then fill up the block content for each of that item. So we'll be using the loop over item node. So click on that plus icon, select and search for loop over items. Okay, now just bear with me if this is a bit confusing syntax or some sort of confusing UI. I'll try to explain it in very simple way. So what we have is basically we have 3 items coming from Google Sheet, and with loop over nodes we'll be processing each of those items, and that would be with the batch size 1. That means one item would get processed each time. That means this loop will run 3 times, and then we will go to the done state. So what we need to do 3 times is basically fill up the content for every single row that we have in the sheet. So what we need to do 3 times is call up that OpenAI node I have over here. Okay, so you need to click on this plus. So whatever happens, so this says replace me, right? So whatever happens for each node is going to go through this path. Okay, so you click on plus. This is going to be the OpenAI node. So search for OpenAI. Okay, and the action that we are trying to do is message a model. Okay, so once you message the model, it would again ask you for OpenAI credential, which you can easily get. Create new credentials, and N8N has job incredibly good job. N8N has done incredibly good job with having all the docs together. So if you go to Open Docs, you will have to create an OpenAI account. uh, I happen to have one again. So just go to platform.openai.com/sign up. I'll click on continue with Google. I already have an email address linked to this account. If you don't have, you can just sign up for an account. So I logged into my account, and then what you need to do is basically select the project over here. If you don't have a specific project, you can create new project. So this is loading, and just refresh this part. Okay, so now this is done. I go to, so this is my project. You can create new project, and then you go to dashboard and API keys. Okay, you can create a new API key. Just add any random name over here, whatever you want. Select the project, create new API key. So whenever that gets created, you basically have to copy paste that key over here and just save this. Once this is saved, your OpenAI credentials are all set up. Okay, so the resource that we need to do is select text, uh, and then we need to the select operation as messenger model. From the list, I'm going to use OpenAI, let's say GPT 4.1, mini. So let's go with 4.1. I'll just search for 4.1 mini. This is quite efficient model, and we are going to paste the user prompt and the system prompt, which I'll just copy paste from the workflow. So I happen to have everything into my community, which is go build with AI.com. Okay, this community will have every single tutorial, whatever I do over here. So just join the community and get every single access to whatever we have, in terms of prompts, in terms of templates, everything is downloadable over here. So do join that community. So I'll just copy paste the prompt that I have. So this is the user prompt. So I'll go and copy paste over here. Okay, I'll also explain what exactly is this. So if you expand, your task is to write expert, sorry if I get it wrong, okay, for the following block title and category. So this title and category we are going to pull from this field, okay, which is the previous node that we have. So execute previous node. This would get you the first row, which is this one. Okay, now for this you basically need to just drag and drop the title and the category. So I have already have the title and category over here, so I'll just basically drag and drop that part. Okay, this is a user prompt. Now what you need to do is add a message, select the system prompt. The system prompt is again very simple. So you go to system prompt over here, double click, and you have, so you are an expert content writer with expertise in writing SEO optimized, let's say content for blogs. Okay, so if you copy this prompt, again every single thing is going to get documented into my community as well. So paste it out. Okay, you just need to select simplify output because it gives you a lot of unnecessary attributes as well, and just execute this. Once this is executed, you basically have the content. Now, this content is coming from OpenAI. Okay, so I'll use this content to push it to my Google Google Sheet over here with this specific column. Okay, so this is done. So what we did is specifically this particular item would come up over here, will message a model, and whatever gets pulled from OpenAI will basically be replacing that and putting up to the sheet. So this replace me is going to get uh, basically updated to Google Sheet. So if you go to Google Sheet, okay, this time we're going to update row in a sheet. Okay, so select the same credentials, sheet within the document. This time it's going to be update row, which means update a existing row. Select the document we want. So document is going to be loop over tutorial. This is the same sheet that we are referring. Sheet is going to be the same. Okay. Now this time what we need to do is basically map out the column. So this will basically give you what we need to update, right? So map out the column manually. You can map automatically as well. Automatically means all the fields that are from the previous node would get matched automatically. It should have the same field as the Google Sheet. So column to match on is going to be the row number, because this is the row number that we have to uniquely identify a specific row with. Okay, you can do title category as well, but for simplicity I kept row number. So you go to row number, and then whatever row number that you can fill up from this specific previous node, which is loop over items. This is the first node. Okay, this is the first row. So copy paste, drag and drop over here. Okay, now what you need to update is just the block content, right? So you don't need to update the title and the category, just remove those fields. And what you need to update is, so values to update, row number is using only for match, it's not going to get updated. The only field that we are going to update is the block content. Now block content will come from the OpenAI. So this is the content, paste it out over here. Okay, and then just execute the steps. Once this is done, basically this would get updated. If you go to the sheet, you have this first row updated. It has only updated first row because we basically only have the first row over here. So that is why for row number two, this one for row number two, it got updated. Okay, so this was the overall workflow. If you just right click, uh, tidy up the workflow a bit, and you can just completely delete this replace me, because everything that we did is for individual items. So just delete it out. It would get connected to this loop over items, and then what you need to do is basically just save this and execute this workflow. So for each and every item, this workflow would run. After all three items, we would go to the done state over here. Okay, this is done. You see all the content that is done, and and then you can also use limit. So we got limit over here. Okay, so this limit node, you can actually limit the number of, you know, number of rows that you want to send to the next node. Okay, so let's say if I only want to send two nodes, which are the first two nodes, I can do that. Right, so execute, you only get the first two rows. If I want to get the last two rows, you just get last two rows, right? Three, four. So this is how you can use limit with looping, and we can have few more edge cases as well with this workflow. So everything is available in my community. Just join the community, and if you need more help, just help. Just reach me out. I'll help you out. Thanks for watching the tutorial, and if you like this sort of videos, please like and subscribe my channel. I'll be posting a lot of that content around N8N. So thanks for watching.